Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. Canelo Alvarez becomes undisputed super middleweight champion all over again with a 12-round unanimous decision win over William Scull. Be that as it may, this fight was an absolute disgrace. To call it a glorified sparring session is probably being generous. First of all, William Scull, in my view, should have his purse withheld. In fact, I think both guys should have their purses withheld. People paid money to watch this on pay-per-view. People paid money to travel out to Saudi Arabia to attend this event. And you got the face of boxing in Canelo Alvarez casually plodding around the ring for 12 rounds, like some old man going for a morning stroll around the park in his bathrobe. I mean, seriously, Canelo has reached the point in his career where, because the judges are always in his pocket, he's more than content to just do the bare minimum in fights. Barely throw any shots. Barely give the fans anything who've supported him all these years. He has no shame. He feels absolutely no responsibility to deliver for his fans and for the sport of boxing as a whole, as the face of boxing, right? Canelo is literally robbing the bank damn near every time he steps out at this point. And as for William Scull, I don't ever want to see this guy fight again for the rest of my life. William Scull didn't even try to win. He turned up with a big smile on his face, with the sole intention of collecting his little 8 million or whatever he was apparently getting. An absurdly high amount of money for a fighter of this caliber. Yeah, he had a big smile on his face throughout the fight because his intention was just to collect that check and survive the 12 rounds and not get knocked out. The man did not try to win. It was an absolute shocker from William Scull. So you had one guy in Canelo who was trying to win, yes, but he wasn't trying to entertain. He was happy to just do the bare minimum. And another guy in William Scull who literally wasn't actually trying to win the fight. He was just trying to go the distance. Both guys should have their purses withheld. I don't want to see William Scull ever again. And Canelo Alvarez shouldn't be getting another payday unless he's going to fight David Benavidez. I know David Benavidez has moved up to 175 now. He's got a belt at light heavyweight. But the financial backers, the Saudis, in my opinion, should insist that Canelo does that fight. Now, perhaps that's not possible because contracts are in place and none of it includes a David Benavidez match. But ideally, that's what would happen because Canelo Alvarez, at this point, is bad for boxing. He can say all he wants about these runners like William Scull, but at the end of the day, Canelo could do more to break a guy like William Scull down. He could make more of an effort to entertain. But no, he just trots around the ring at a snail's pace, barely throws anything, knowing that he's going to be given all these rounds, or most of them, because the judges are always in his pocket. So all in all, it was a terrible weekend of boxing. The Times Square card was a dud. And I don't blame Turki Al-Sheikh for that because on paper, those fights looked pretty decent, Times Square. Boxing does have an element of unpredictability about it. I've seen many fights over the years which on paper look like good matchups that turned out to be snooze fests. It happens. I mean, for example, the rematch between Chris Eubanks Sr. and Nigel Benn was a dud. Oh yes, it was. That was not an entertaining fight. That was a dud. The first fight was a classic. The second fight, And the second fight was much bigger than the first fight in terms of attendance and viewing figures and what have you. It was a much bigger fight, but it didn't deliver. So that can happen in boxing. David Haye versus Vladimir Klitschko, another example of a big fight between two top names that turned out to be a stinker. So yeah, I can't blame Turki Al-Sheikh for what happened with the Times Square card. It was what it was. It's one of those things. But Canelo Alvarez, from a fan's perspective, is simply not worth the money that he's being paid. He's not worth the pay-per-view price that the fans have to pay. And this all really speaks to the state of boxing in America. I don't want to say it's the Mayweather effect, because Mayweather was the one who popularized robbing the bank, as they call it. Mayweather relied on race baiting, really, to generate pay-per-view sales and whatnot. He basically turned it into a formula where he used race baiting to get people to tune in and buy pay-per-views because they were so desperate to see him lose. And what Mayweather would then do is box extremely defensively, pot shot on the outside, make it extraordinarily boring and anticlimactic, and take a points decision over 12 rounds. He made it cool for fighters to box like that. And that has done so much damage to boxing in the United States, I'm telling you, to feel absolutely no obligation at all to entertain. And Mayweather, of course, also popularized this staying unbeaten thing, preserving the all-important O. US boxing still hasn't recovered from the Mayweather years. It hasn't recovered from it. You can see the influence he's had on the Devin Haney's of the world, on the Teofimo Lopez's of the world, even on the Canelo Alvarez's of the world. Oh yes, he's had an influence on Alvarez. Obviously, Alvarez is Mexican, but most of his fights happen in the United States. American boxing needs a new Mike Tyson. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the heavyweight division, but it'll be better if it was. They need an American fighter who is a savage, all-action puncher and who wants all the smoke all the time. Not a guy like Gervonta Davis, cherry-picking his way through an entire career, or Canelo Alvarez, who barely throws any punches. No, they need a wrecking machine like Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson was fighting in the 80s and 90s, the reason he was so popular, the reason that he was such a draw, is because from the very first bell in every single Mike Tyson fight that there ever was, he comes flying out and starts throwing bombs immediately. There's no waiting around. There's no feeling out process. As soon as that first bell would go, it's like lighting the touch paper, and you can literally see the fuse burning up real quick as Mike Tyson chases down his opponent and starts throwing enormous shots at them literally within the first 10 seconds of the bout. If you could bottle excitement, it would literally be a prime Mike Tyson. Even after his prime, he was still incredibly exciting. That is what it will take, I think, to revive American boxing, to bring it back to what it was in the glory years. A fighter who is willing to fight anybody and is hyper aggressive and is a savage knockout artist. And by the way, Cus D'Amato, who was the architect of Mike Tyson's style, he developed that style with the intent of not only being effective, but also entertaining. Look it up. Cus D'Amato said he wanted to come up with a style that was effective but also entertaining because people have paid their money to come and watch you. You owe them entertainment. That's how Cus D'Amato felt. And Mike Tyson, of course, was his magnum opus. So it's not just a matter of a fighter who has the right ability. It's about finding a fighter that has the right attitude. That's what's so crucial for the fate of American boxing, because the stars they have at the moment do not have the right attitude. Teofimo Lopez doesn't have the right attitude. Devin Haney doesn't have the right attitude. Ryan Garcia definitely doesn't have the right attitude. And, well, Canelo Alvarez, ditto. None of these guys have got the right attitude. Now, there are some guys that do have the right attitude, but they don't have the ability. Props to them for trying, but American boxing needs better than that. It needs someone that has the ability, but also has the attitude. I mean, Boots Ennis, it was a nice performance last time out, but he's no Mike Tyson figure. Same goes for Virgil Ortiz. He's not dynamic enough. He's too conservative with his punch output. He's not a real destroyer. You look at a guy, a Mexican fighter like Pitbull Cruz, yeah, he's got the attitude, but doesn't have the ability. And of course, he is Mexican, he's not American, so he's not really going to cross over like that. He can only be popular among Mexicans. You know, Mike Tyson wasn't just popular with African Americans. Oh, no, 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 no. Mike Tyson was wildly popular with people from all backgrounds, and not just popular in America, popular globally. Mike Tyson was wildly popular in the UK, wildly popular all over the globe. He did a tremendous amount for the popularity of boxing, let me tell you, Mike Tyson, because the popularity of boxing had fallen off to some extent, at least in the heavyweight division, after Muhammad Ali retired. Larry Holmes was a great champion, but he wasn't a popular champion. Mike Tyson brought the heavyweight division back. That's a fact. And he brought it back in the most spectacular way. Now, before anyone gets the wrong end of the stick here, I'm not saying that Mike Tyson was the greatest heavyweight of all time. I'm not a Mike Tyson fanboy, but I give credit where credit's due. No fighter is below praise and no fighter is above criticism, as I've been saying on this channel for years. And what Mike Tyson deserves praise for is his attitude that he had during his prime years in particular, and his ability, his style, the excitement he brought to the ring. Anyway, Mike Tyson aside, I'm through reminiscing. Canelo and William Scull disgraced themselves. Both of them did the bare minimum to pick up a check. Both of them had no shame and took no responsibility whatsoever upon themselves to represent boxing in a good light. Shocking stuff. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Rant over. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Are you surrounded by mindless bots in human form who adhere to the norm and blindly conform? who swallow all the mainstream BS and actually ridicule you for questioning things. Do you wish you had more free-thinking individuals in your life to network and converse with? Well, look no further. We're right here. Come and join the Brotherhood of Reason on Patreon. You'll gain access to my weekly topical content where we take deep dives on an endless variety of subjects, as well as my vast back catalogue of podcasts, videos, interviews, movie decodings, and my Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You'll also get to talk and network with myself and hundreds of other people in our members chat. You can enjoy all this via the Patreon app or on desktop, and download all my podcasts in high-quality MP3. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store, or simply visit patreon.com on a web browser. Then head on over to my page and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. All the links are in the description box below. And just a quick money-saving tip for Apple users. If you purchase your Patreon subscription on the desktop site or on Android, then you'll avoid the ridiculous 30% fee that Apple charges for purchases made on the iOS app. So if you're on iPhone or iPad, save yourself some money by buying your subscription on the actual Patreon website or on Android, because it's a lot cheaper. Once you've made that initial purchase, you can then use the Patreon app on your iPhone or iPad thereafter to access and enjoy your content as normal.